Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Jo here. It is Thursday, February the 12th, and we are here for Crafty Hour number 81. There we go, just getting into where we need to be. Good morning. Here we are. All right. Let's get going here. Hello, good morning. If you're just popping on, please say hi. Welcome, welcome. Just getting myself all sorted here for Crafty Hour 81. Welcome, welcome. I see some eyes joining. Let's see, a little bit of a delay. Hello, Ray. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Kathy. Hello, hello. Hello, Sharon. All right. A little bit of a crazy morning. I just flew here by the seat of my pants. Hello, good morning, Wanda. Hello. It is Crafty Hour time. All right, good morning. I'm just going to turn off the phone in here. One sec. We don't want to listen to that the whole time. Busy morning here. Let's see. Here we go. Busy morning in the store. Good morning. Yippee. Joanne says yippee. Okay, I was going to get myself all orientated here and we're going to get started straight away. Good morning, Sandy. Let's get myself a Sharpie. We got some notes to make here. Hello. It looks a little jittery. It's a little jittery. Oh, your first Crafty Hour. Well, welcome, welcome. Let's see here. I see that the internet's just a little jittery, so maybe that's just on my end. Excited to see you too, Sandy. Okay, we are pulling apart all of the lovely things that are in this Aall Create creative box. The creative box is called Voyage of Flavor. And that tells you the theme of what we're going to be playing with today. All of the yummy sweets and treats. So, as in true fashion of these lovely creative boxes, inside we have two washies, which I've already pulled out and used, so they are ready to go. And these are the scene building washi tapes. So they are not just your average, every ordinary washi. So if you are not familiar with the Aall Create washies, they have a wonderful scene building, different types of washi, very, very different from the washis on the market. So this one does a lovely scene of a shelf full of sweets, and this one does one of, looks like maybe some sort of volcanic explosive hot chocolate with all sorts of macaroons and goodies and raspberries and things. It is so explosive with color. It is absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to build one of those as well as do some die cutting and some other things with it as well. Good morning, Judy. Hello, everybody. Inside the packet as well, you have a complete pack of ephemera, which makes me hungry, hungry and thirsty and all of the things, and some to die for paper. I absolutely love, love, love all of the Aall Create papers for all of the reasons. They are just my kind of patterns and just all sorts of good thickness, good for mixed media, good for card making, good for all the things. And this is a really, really cool assortment of paper where on one side of the paper, let's just put this here. on one side of the papers definitely are very coordinating. They all look very, very similar. And then on the flip side, they kind of have a different vibe to them, which works perfect with the other side as well. But I really like the idea of having outsides of cards and insides of cards so that the insides of the cards have a decorative element as well. So that being said, those are the ones that I have left over. I have separated the ones that I'm actually going to use for Crafty Hour. So shall we kind of reveal a little bit here what we're going to do? This is my first card. So in the homework listing, I gave you a list. It is scrumptious. Nom, nom, nom. I think we're all going to be needing some snacks after Crafty Hour. What dies do we need to pull? The dies from the ephemera pack or dies that we are using for Crafty Hour. I asked everybody to bring a nested die set, whether that be whatever shape that you like. And I mentioned that I was going to be using some arches. All right, so the arches that I'm going to be using are these ones from Elizabeth Crafts. I have a few arch sets. I have a set from Spellbinders, that's a plain set. I also have a set from Pink Fresh Studios, but I liked this set specifically because it only had 4 dies in it and they all fit within an A2 size card. So I'm going to be using arches today, Daryl, and I'm going to be using the 3 from this set. Let me get those out of here. I was torn because postage stamps are beautiful too, but I kind of went with arches. I was going to first go with circles, but then I decided to go with some arches. And I mentioned specifically to choose ones that fit within an A2 size card because that's what we were going to do. So measurement wise, it doesn't really matter if they're 3.5 inches or 3 inches, just as long as you had 3 nested dies. That's what I said I was going to use so that we can do the 2 cards. Okay, they are nice, Julie. After the class, can I send you the homework link? The homework is going to be on our Crafty Creations group page. It is also attached to this link, Joanne. I put my homework in images and I attach it to the event link. And then I also put it into the Crafty Creations group. And if you haven't joined that group, that's the group to go to get all of the Crafty Hour information from previous Crafty Hours, as well as current ones so that you can be on top of what you're going to need for homework from myself, as well as from Courtney, who will be doing her Crafty Hour this evening Pacific time at 5. So she has set up an event as well with Memories and More, and she will be able to guide you with her homework as well. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with what I had mentioned. So you can always go find the homework, Joanne, and then come back with what you need to do the Crafty Hour. But stick around and watch and see what we're going to do, and then you'll know. So 2 pieces of paper. I need a card base that is 5.5 by 8.5. Standard A2 size. We'll just be scoring that in half. And then I asked for a smaller one that was 5 by 8. So you can see, probably maybe not so well, but white on white there, that one's going to fit nice. I've used the paper on the front along with all of these lovely ephemera die cuts. I've used my arch dies to create a little window there, along with a couple of layers, using some gold, using the layers that I'm going to cut out of the front so that I could have this little swing lever on the inside here. So that's our first card that we're going to make. And then we're going to be using some of the pattern paper on the inside as well. Okay, so that's what we're going to create. Get all my layers and all my pieces. I always like to watch first too, because then I know what I'm in for, right? So we needed a piece of gold, and we need some of those pattern papers. Now, if you saw the way that I fanned out the pattern papers, they pretty much are all in the running to be used. So I really don't think it matters which ones you pull, but I'll show you the ones that I've pulled. I always stick kind of everything that I need into a little envelope so nothing gets lost here. And I have pre-stamped a greeting. None of these little goodies inside the kit had any sort of sentiment, so it was up to us to come up with some sentiment. So I've just pre-stamped on a little strip here. We have so many stamp sets in our world to come up with a greeting that's good for you. I just did a hello friend. All right, so these are the little die cuts that I needed. I posted that into the homework as well. So this is for card number 1. And we've got a nice kind of array of things that are a little bit matchy-matchy. I've got some strawberries in a jar with looks like a kind of a strawberry sundae of sorts. And then a lovely sort of red and white, maybe cup of coffee, little cappuccino, cup of tea maybe. Could be lots of things, along with some florals. Now, after I finished my card, I added some snaz with some diamond stickles here to my die cuts just to give them some little sparkle there, and that really sort of livens them up a little bit. So that's where we're headed. I'll stick that there, and then we'll get some work done here. Okay, so we're going to do some scoring, and then we're going to do some die cutting with our papers. I got some gold, and then these are the 3 papers that I had taken from the kit. I will put them here if you want to have a look, and I will get some scoring stuff ready to go. But in essence, when you look at all of the papers, they all sort of have that look to them. And on the backs, they all sort of have that kind of look to them. So really, whatever you choose is probably going to look the same if you chose something else. Okay, so those are those 3. I'll put those aside for now. Let's do some scoring. That's okay, Jenny. I slid in here at the last second too. All right, so here's my card base. It's a regular A2 size card. So I'm just going to put that in my trimmer at 4 1/4 to score that in half. Make sure I got my scoring blade and not my cutting blade. Get that nice and creased, and I will get my bone folder in there. There we go. That's ready to go. I'm just gonna stick that potentially there momentarily. Now this is my inside piece, and the inside piece has 3 scores to it. Let's write that down on my little notepad. All right, so I'm gonna write inside, and that's card 1. And we're gonna score at 2 1/2. We're gonna score at 4 1/2. And we're gonna score at 6. Okay, so this is the kind of scoring where you're gonna slide it along in the trimmer. If you have a scoreboard, you're just gonna have it sitting there stationary and doing the same thing. So I'm gonna go to 2 1/2. Get my blade out of the way there. No cutting. Get out of the way there. 2 1/2. There we go. And then I'm going to slide it down to 4 1/2 and do the score. And then to 6. That's my 6. There we go. So You can never see score lines on white paper very well. So I've just got a little cheater here, just to show you. 2.5 inches, slider down, score it at 4.5 inches, and then at the 6. So we've got 4 different little compartments here on our piece of paper that is 5 by 8. All right, so we're just going to want to fold those and get them all scored and where they need to be. When things are moving and grooving in a card, I kind of like to score them in both directions so that everything is relaxed and happy. And I'm using a Hammermill cardstock for my inside. It's a little bit thinner weight, so when I'm bulking up with a card base and a large inner layer like this, I like to use a thinner weight cardstock. It is 100 pound, but it is, you know, not your Nina 110. It's not super thick. It's a thinner weight. So I'm going to end up needing my piece to sit like this, kind of like it's got, this is 2 inches, this is 2 inches, this is 1.5 here, and then I've got my 2.5 inches here. So this sits so that it is equal here, and then I've got my flat part that's going to go on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that momentarily while I do some die cutting to the front of my card with some arches. All right, so I got my front of the card ready. I'm going to choose which piece of paper that I would like to have on the front of my card as well. And I'm going to cut that so that it is the proper size going onto the front of my card. Let's go with this one here. I like this one. It's got some good script on there, and it's got all of the colors that work really well with the florals that I've picked and my strawberries. So on the front of the card, we want just a standard 4 by 5.25. All right, so you can trim that up to keep or get rid of whatever you need to on this one. I think these ones are, they're just a little bit over 4 inches. So I will need to trim off a little bit. It's probably like 1/8 of an inch or so. So just a little snippet comes off for the 4 inch. And then I'll go to 5.25. Chop it down a bit. There we go. So that should fit onto the front of my card, just like so. All right, I am going to cut 2 at the same time, and I know my die is going to cut through 2 at the same time, and these Aall Create papers are nice and thick. So if it doesn't chop all the way through 2 layers for you, we can just line it up where it's going to create that indent into the paper and then cut the second layer. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to use a little bit of some repositionable adhesive just on the very center of my piece here so things don't shift. I would like it to be right in the right spot. And just give a little press there so that I know when it's die cutting, it's not going to be shifting around. All right, let's make some room. I got to bring in my die cut machine here, and we're going to do this together. All right. Make some room. Here comes the machine. All right. I'm going to put my card base down in here. I'm going to put it in on a slight angle, the best that I can. That's always best for dies when they're going through. And I think with these guys, I'm doing the smallest one. Just measuring up here. Measuring up. I'm doing the smallest one All right, and I'm going to put it on here into the center the best that I can, all the way around. If you want to go up a little bit higher towards the top so that you have a sentiment on the bottom, you can do that. You can do your arranging as you need. I think I might just put it a little bit, not completely in the center, top to bottom, but side to side. And let's put my plate on there. I've just got it on a slight angle so that when the die goes through, it's going to not go on the straight edge. There we go. I'm just gonna put that through back and forth one time. Oh, it looks like it's cut pretty good here. So my two pieces came out. There's my card base, and there's my top of the card. And where I had the repositionable adhesive is now stuck together here with my white and my piece here. So there we go. That's the first one. All right, so that's the smallest of the 3 nested dies. So if you're using a circle or a rectangle or some other more fancier label shape or something, we're gonna go small first. And then I'm gonna take a piece of gold. Here's a piece of gold. And I'll put that on an angle as well. I'm gonna use the medium out of the 3 that I've chosen, and the small at the same time so that I can cut a frame. Now, because I'm using the small one, that's going to cut the same size hole, and then the frame that's going around it will fit around that hole. So I'm using the small and the medium, just lining them up the best that I can so that I have an even frame going through. And you can do this with all of your nested dies because that's one of the lovely things about them. So there's the frame that I'm going to use on the front of the card, and then I have an extra gold. Maybe I can use as a tag. I can put it on the inside with some embellishment or something, or I can use it on another card. So that is the frame that I need for the front. All right, we will come back to this die cutting when we are going to be doing card number 2. So we won't put the machine away. We're going to keep that around. And we'll go to the card base. Now, I brought in some brown ink to do some distressing. This Aall Create paper just has that vibe to it. So I've brought in some ground espresso. I think any sort of medium to dark brown would work really, really well. So I'm just going to go around my edges of the entire card. You can do outside, you can do inside. Let's see, I would like a piece of scrap paper. Do I want to use this? Let's use this. Let's use it. All right, so that's the outside of my card. All lovely and distressed. All the way around. And I want to do the inside as well, but just a little bit more than just the edge. I want to kind of encroach a little bit with some more shading. And just so that everything looks unified, I'm just going to go all the way around. I can't help it, Gloria. I feel like it needs it. And even though this card kind of has a bit of a clean feel to it, you can still distress and have a clean feel to something, right? Okay, there we go. And that, of course, means I'm going to need to distress the edges of this piece. Once you do one, you have to do them all. You can't just leave them all bare naked. They have to all matchy match. There we go. And because I've cut a hole in this frame too, I'm covering it up with some gold. I'm not going to worry about this outer frame because I'm not going to be seeing the edge of that one. Whoops. All right, and I'm going to attach this as I go. I hate to cover up this lovely pattern on the back, but we got to pick and choose, right? That's what's great about two-sided paper is we have that choice. All right. All right, that should line up really nicely with my hole in the middle. So I've got that nice arch going right through there. And then I'm going to take my gold frame and I'm going to attach that into that spot as well. All right, there we go. Just a little bit of liquid glue gets everything on there. And then if it's not quite in the right spot, you can swoosh it around a bit. There we go. So there we go. So far, so good. All right, let's get our inside pieces in. Now this is our funny inside piece. Before I stick this in, I'm actually going to attach some pattern paper to it. Okay. And I'm going to do a little inky edges. I can't help it. I know this is a little bit time consuming and it's going to encroach on my time. I know it, but I feel like this is how the card needs to be completed. All right, and all these folds, we'll just give a little swipe. Just an easy way to distress them. Fold them over and just give a little swipey swipe. All right, so I'm going to cut one of the pattern papers so that I have a little bit of that on the inside as well. And this is 5 inches tall, 8 inches wide. So I want everything to nest within that 5 inches. So the height of all my papers are going to be 4 3/4. Just all of the little sections are going to be a little bit of a different size. All right, so let's start here. And I'm going to use the smaller guillotine one here, just because it's quick and easy. So I'm going to chop that at 4 3/4 so that it fits within my 5-inch height. And I need 3 pieces here. So my first one is going to be 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so 4 3/4. Oh, there we go. That's a really nice piece. I'm going to keep that for something. And we're going to keep that in there, and we'll go to 2 1/4. 2 1/4. 2 1/4. There we go. There we go. And then the next piece is going to be 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. It's always going to be by 4 3/4. So 1 3/4. And these are the papers that are going to fill up my little sections just to decorate them a little bit. So I've run out of paper. I'm going to grab one more paper here, and this one needs to be 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. Imagine that. But I like this lovely decorative piece here, so I'm going to use that one. That is all I'm going to use that for. But it matches the other pieces nicely. That is some extra scrappy scraps. And then these should fill up. Oh, but I didn't shorten that one to 4 3/4. Let's shorten that one to 4 3/4. Trying not to think about all of the good little bits that I'm cutting off. A little bit of ink. The quickest distressing ink that there could be. All right, so these areas could be where you put your little messages, where you attach a little pocket to have a little gift card, all of those things. So they should just kind of nest into these 3 zones. There we go. And we'll just attach those with some glue. Hello, Linda. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming. This guy needs some ink as well. There we go. Boop. There's just enough design around the edges to keep it pretty and decorative on the inside, and just enough area too there where you can write all of your endearing messages. And I love paper like that, where it's kind of framed around the edges. Sometimes we don't know what to do with that paper, but it's really, really good paper for the insides of cards. It's really, really good paper for you to add what you would like to make it yours as well, especially like with mixed media. Oh, this is one of those things where it probably has a direction. There we go. All right, now this needs to go on the inside of my card, and it's pretty simple. Remember how I said it needs to be kind of like this, like a little table? So it all just kind of folds flat like this, right? And it's going to rest inside here. And then eventually, when we get everything going, it's going to kind of sit up like that, like a table. Okay? So the first thing I'd like to do, though, is just kind of snip off a little bit of this edge here so that it doesn't go right into the crease. I find that when you kind of have something butting up into a crease, then it doesn't really fold up nicely. So if you just take just a tiny little bit off of that end there that's still white on both sides, just a little sliver, then it just closes a lot nicely because you're not filling up the gutter there with a whole bunch of bulk. No bulk. All right, so that's going to go down here. All right, and I've got about a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, just like so. So it's just this part here that's glued down, and then this part is going to be loose. So it's this part here that needs to attach to the front of my card, and that's still going into the crease here. So I'm just going to cut a little bit more off of there. This is the one that's the one that's a little bit optional for the sizing there. Let's just get it right before we attach anything. That's pretty good. Let's go with that. All right, and sometimes it's about how you've scored it as well. Sometimes when you're rushing, it doesn't it doesn't work out so well. So I don't want any glue in the hole. All I want is some here and here so that it attaches just to this white side here. All right, and if you want to do sequin or score tape there so that it holds it nice and strong, you can do that. And then if you also want to do some repositionable just to kind of give her a test before you commit, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to do a little bit on the sides and a little bit on the bottom of some sequin, some score tape, and that will be sufficient. I don't need anything else anywhere else. And when I flatten that down, it should just kind of hold it there and then open it. So now I've got a little shelf here to put my layers of goodies here. Okay, so these are the 2 that I cut out of the hole that go here, just like so. So before I attach that, I'm going to take this one here. It is the same size, and I'm just going to tear a little bit off the top and off the bottom. You have a little ink on those edges. And I'm going to nestle that back into the white one so that I've got a decorative bit of pattern paper on the front of that white one as well. So all of these pieces that I have die cut out to make the window are being utilized, and they're going back into the hole. There we go. All right, so now I need to stick this back into the hole, and I only want to glue it down so that it's on this side. I don't want to glue it down to this white area here, otherwise it won't flip back up when I open it. All right, so you can put some adhesive just here if you want to, because that's kind of helpful to know where to put it. There's my sequin. You can put just a couple strips here, so it's nice and strong. And because it came from this hole, it is a little snug. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna feel like it's not, it's gonna feel like it's kind of not completely going into that area. I don't know how else to describe that, but that's okay because you want it to be able to loosely open and close. So I'll line that up there, and then any imperfections will disappear, and then it just opens and closes like that. So now it's kind of the decorating part of finding what dies that you, ephemera dies, images and things that you would like to add to this area here. So just a cluster of a few different ones. And you can utilize the different layers behind our arch here and on the inside as well. So I did that. I've got flowers kind of sticking out on the front and the back, as well as I got a little poppy on the inside here too. So you can definitely stretch it out both ways, and you can also decorate around the different areas where you know it's not going to kind of get into the way of opening and closing. It's kind of playing around and seeing what works. And I'm going to use some foam tape for this. Let's see. I'm going to pop up these guys. Pop up these guys here. Let's get some foam strips. See if we can get this together here and go into our second card. So this is just kind of a matter of decorating. We're going to start with our biggest elements here. And when I'm adding foam tape, I'm going to primarily add them into the middle of the different elements so that I can tuck around them and so that I can squish things up and make sure that everything is nice and close and touching. I can put this guy up here nice and tall. So he'll just need a little bit. This is my waffle flower foam strips, and they come in all sorts of different widths here. So this is one of the widest widths. We'll tuck that in there, stretch it out, and my little jar, he'll go here. And on my little jar, I'm going to attach one of the small poppies. So I'll just put a little bit of adhesive there, and I'll just stretch that out a little bit so that it's going to be hanging off the side there. There we go. And I've got these lovely other flowers here. They have such a corally orange, beautiful color tone to them. Put some glue onto the front, and then I will attach that into the back of my arch here. I'm going to slide that just a little bit forward. so that it fits there. Right, so I've got all sorts of different layers happening here. And then I can pop up one of these ones in the corner. All right, that's not going to be intrusive when it's opening and closing, so I can put something down there. And we'll do that with a little bit of foam tape. I'm going to put the foam tape where I want the item. Sometimes it's easier that way, right? And we will just have that there in the corner. And then my other poppy on the inside here, I might need to just tuck it there. So a little bit of glue just to get it stabilized underneath there. And we'll just lift and tuck. There we go. So I used this sentiment here, this lovely little hello friend, and we're going to trim it. I stamped it with my ground espresso ink, nothing special, just my regular oxide brown distress, and that's so that it just goes a little bit better than having a black sentiment there, because I don't really have any other black going on here. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to stamp in brown, and that's probably just going to be a little bit more gentle. And I got my foam tape just at the bottom of my cup here, and I'm going to have my hello friend just straight along the bottom there. And that's why I said any stamp strip will work really, really nice here. It could be as long or as short as you need it, as long as it doesn't come off the end of the card. I think you're in good business there. So yeah, and then afterwards, if you want to just let that settle, let all the glue dry, and then you can go in with a little bit of stickles, and you can decorate up all of those different ephemera pieces. And I've just gone around and followed all of the different lines of the cups and all of the different dishes and around the edge of the jar. And then I just do little swirlies into the flowers just to give them a little bit of edging onto all of those petals without being too specific. So there we go. That is card number 1. All right. Well, thanks, Sarah. I think it is a fun fold, so to speak, but it's really, really easy as well. So, and I was, telling myself when we do these crafty hours, we definitely do not have to try to reinvent the wheel. We just have to take designs that we like and use the product from the kit with designs that we like. And we hope that that's what you guys do too. Okay, so that is card number 1. I'm going to try to squeeze in card number 2. I think we're good. Excuse me if I'm sniffling a bit. I'm coming off having a heck of a cold. Okay. All right, so this is my card number 2, and we're going to use the washi for this one. Thank you, Sandy. I know we're going a little bit fast here, right? We got to get all of the steps in. There is my pieces for card number 2. I've got my paper chosen for card number 2. I got an innie and an outie. And I've got some gold paper again. I got an extra just in case I had a problem. Because you never know. Sometimes we have faux pas. All right, we're going to move on to our card number 2. Oh, excellent. That's a good idea, Judy. That's a good idea. I'd love to see what you make. You should put something in the Crafty Hour Creations group so you can see what you do with the design with different papers. Would love to see that. We have folks who post things like that all the time. Okay. All right, so we're going to do some nesting with the arch dies again. And again, you don't need to use arch dies. You can use whatever dies you want. So we're going to cut some of the paper so that we have a lovely inside and outside of the card. And I've used lots of these great ephemera pieces, and you might not know it, but this is the washi in the center here. Okay, so we're going to do some die cutting, we're going to do some washi, and then we're going to do some arranging. Hopefully we've got some time to put it all together, and if we don't, we'll just post some instructions so that you guys can finish up. All right, so die cutting and cutting first. We need a card base, and I have used a top folding card, which is like this here. So 4 1/4 by 11, and then when you fold that in half, at the 5 1/2 mark, you have a A2 size card, but it is top folding. Okay, doesn't have to be, it could be the other way as well. Doesn't have to be. And for my front and my inside of the card, I'm going to need to cut 2 of the papers so that they are 4 by 5 1/4. That magic number again. Magic numbers that go with A2 size cards. We get to know those numbers very well. Whoop, let's use this trimmer. So we'll cut both of them that size so that one will fit on the front and one will fit on the inside. I am an decorate the inside card kind of gal. There we go. I'm not looking at the pieces because then I just get all scrupulous about what I'm cutting off. Oh, I do need to trim just ever so slightly so that that fits. There we go, and we'll do the same for this. It's just got that extra little 1/8 of an inch there. There we go. And let's get the die cut machine. All right, so we're gonna go big first. We're gonna cut out a big window. Let's cut out a big window. So that's my largest one. On the first card, we used a medium and a small. And this one, we're going to use a large. Let's use a large. So you can see, as I'm putting it through, how much space that sits into that front of the card there. So then I have this bit of frame left here. Okay. There we go. Where am I going to put that? Let's put that there. And I'm going to do the same for the inside. I would like this inside just to replicate the outside so that I have a nice message area there. And I can decorate it as well with some of the die cuts. I didn't put that on an angle like I should have. There we go. There we go. All right, next piece. We're going to do a medium gold. And just a solid gold. We don't need to do any frames, but we can put that on an angle so it doesn't ka-chunk when it goes through. It's hard on the rollers when you have a straight line rolling through, so sometimes those won't cut all the way through if it goes like butt up against the edge there. So I need a gold, and our last one we're not going to do quite yet because we need to do some washi. Okay. So you need a piece of white paper so that we can lay down some washi. All right, and I'm going to use the washi that has that beautiful sort of frothy looking hot chocolate. I don't even know how to describe it. And all of the washi's kind of have a place where it looks like maybe it ends or begins. And washi is very low tack. So if you don't have all of the pieces kind of where they need to be, let's see here, let's pull this out. All right, let's break it here. You can kind of tell here specifically where the chocolate ends and the flower begins. You're going to need 4. This is the top. There we go. So the top has the lovely flower on it. So I'm going to lay that down. I'm probably needing to go just a little bit higher than that. All right, and then you're just kind of matching up your edges, trying not to overlap them and make any little speed bumps. There we go. But it's okay if you do. And it's very, very easy to lift. That's the bottom. It's very easy to lift if you don't have it in the right place. But there's so many little defining areas here where you can just very easily match things up and create this beautiful image. And that's not quite right, so we'll lift that up. See how easy it is? It just lifts so easy. There we go. I want to stick my head down like this, but I don't want to. But I don't want to. So there we go. How lovely is that? Especially with these beautiful florals in the background. It's just so pretty. However, I'm going to create a focal point with this. And I'm going to use my smallest arch die to cut out the part that I think is going to look good in my nesting on the front of my card. So I'm going to move my die around and find something I like here. And I really like this lovely tall cup. I really like the flowers in the background. So I am going to use that as my focal point. Here we go. And the dies cut through the washi just as easy as it does the paper, so we don't have to worry about that getting all gummed up or jammed in there. And there's my focal point. Get my die cut machine out of the way here. And we'll start building our card. Hopefully we can get some of it done here. All right, let's start on the inside first. Inside first. I might go a few minutes over. We'll be okay if we go a few minutes over. All right. We are going to ink at your own discretion. Ink or not to ink, that's up to you. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Just a little bit goes a long way here. I've got a well-seasoned sponge that I generally use for brown and black all the time. So the ink just really sits in there and it slurps up new ink really, really well. There we go. So this is going to be a decorative piece for the inside. There we go. Why not, right? Why not? Then I've got a lovely area there for a stamped verse or something handwritten. And over here, I'm just going to put a couple little goodies to decorate the inside as well. It's very busy in the store today. I generally am not here on a Thursday, but it is definitely a busy day in the store. Lots of picking ups and shopping going on. I think I'm going to need a cookie after this too. Cookies and treats. And so this is a really lovely collection with Valentine's coming up. If you want to give somebody sort of a sort of mushy card, this is a lovely something to give for Valentine's Day, right? Something from the heart, something for a friend. Okay, so there's my inside. It's the little frothy cup inside there. And you can use any of the die cuts that are in the pack. These are just a couple that I've pulled out. There's going to be lots left over, and there's so many little macaroons and croissants and things in there. It's just, there's just so many. All right, this frame here for the front, I'm actually going to pop this one up to give some depth and dimension. And then I'm going to use the same arch that I cut out, and I'm going to recess it back into the hole, but I'm going to put that flat onto the front of the card. I got ink. I can't help it. All right, so I'm going to put this flat like this so that it's easier for me to finagle. And we're going to use some foam strips. This is a sort of really nice narrow area here. Let's see here. Let's use some foam strips. This will work pretty good. Get some good depth here on the front of the card. And then as I layer all of the different arches in, everything just kind of looks like it just has its own really cool layer. Okay, the backing came off that one a little bit too soon. Get that one down. So it's just some really easy designs. Sometimes we look at these really cool papers and things and we just like, what am I going to do with this? But if there's a card design out there that you haven't tried and that you've been itching to try, sometimes this is where you need to pull out those neat things that you've been saving or you don't know what to do with, and just tackle it. Here we go. There we go. And there we go. All right, let's position this. I got my fold up at the top there. I'm going to use that to help me center and keep it straight. And we'll just add that there. This little beauty is going to go back onto the front into that hole, but it's just going to go flat down into the card. All right, so it's like taking the paper, taking it apart, and then we're just going to put it all back together again. But look how beautiful that is. Oh, it's like a sin. It's just a sin. So that goes in there. So there we go. Taking it apart, putting it back together again. All right, I've got some gold here, gold here, gold here. I had to bring in some gold with these warm tones. If I was using some cool tones, I'd probably pull in some silver like I normally do. And so because this arch is just a little bit smaller, it's going to nest right in there beautifully. But they were going back up to that height as it is on the frame on the outside here. So we're going to nest that in there. And the reason I chose these arches out of my collection of arches is because it had some really nice stitching on it. So that just adds a decorative element as well. So this layer is now the same flat across because we've attached the frame on the outside with foam tape. We've put the paper down flat, and now the gold is popped up as well. So that's all the same level now. So if I want to add some of my die cuts to this level, I can do that here and then add this one into the center here. So this is an opportunity to add in some layers at a different height here. There we go. I'll just add some beautiful macaroons to that corner. Just kind of goes around nicely. And we'll add some frothy hot chocolate onto this side, nice and tall. So it's kind of hugging both of those corners. Got another little singular macaroon here, and we'll get rid of the gap. I'll just put it on a little tilt. Get rid of the gap there. And this one we're going to pop up again. We're almost to the home stretch here. Just a couple minutes over. There we go. We'll come into the center of that one. So we've got that lovely halo of gold in the back. Just like so. And then if I want to add a sentiment, let's just cut that on an angle. This is from the Hello Friend, and this is from just a Tim Holtz sentiment set that I had. It's just very, very plain, very simple. Lots of really good greetings. And where are we going with this here? Let's do some macaroons here in the back. And then this one we'll pop up. We'll do a little pop-up. 2 more pop-ups. I like those thicker ones. There we go. Let's use the thicker one. It's true, right, Julie? It's not like we have 1 circle set. We probably have 3 circle sets. All right, I'm going to come hang off the edge over here, and then I'm going to put my little macaroons, which are making me very hungry. I'm going to put a little foam tape top and bottom there so that it's all nice and level. And again, you want to bring out your snazzer, your little stickles, and you want to snazz those up a little bit. There we go. So we got a good layering there of all sorts of treats. I'm going to put my little foam tape back on there because I will use it for something else. And there is my card number 2. So just bringing in some nested dies. We all have them. We all collect them. I think it's really important to bring those things in and use them. Very, very important. Thanks so much. Thanks, Gloria. So you can see the difference that the stickles makes too. I went over that washi tape as well. Sticks on there really, really good. And I just went into all the macaroons and gave them all a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so that is my card number 2. I hope you enjoyed my Crafty Hour 81. Don't forget that you need to venture into arches. Don't forget that we have Courtney coming in with all of her lovely designs and her creativity. On our end here, it is 5 p.m. Pacific time. And so we also have tomorrow morning, we are releasing a new Crafty Hour. I think we will be going on to Crafty Hour number 83, and there is an event already posted for that. So if you click into that, you're going to that event, you will, Facebook just send you there so that you don't miss a thing. So we will see you tomorrow morning at 9 p.m. and we'll see what the new Crafty Hour is. Thank you, everybody. If you're interested in any of these things, if you missed out on getting a kit for the Crafty Hour 81, we do have a few still left in store. I know Courtney mentioned the other day that she had a couple left. I don't know if she still does, but I'm sure we could we can sort you out here at Clipper Street. Thank you so much, and everybody have a lovely, fantastic Thursday. Bye now.